Welcome to Bayview Kids. I've got another riddle for you. A man who was outside in the rain without an umbrella or a hat didn't get a single hair on his head wet. Why?
I don't know.
He was bald.
That's a good one, Stephanie.
As we continue on with our theme of self-control, I want to ask you a reflection question from last week. What makes you angry and how can we look to God in our anger? We learned last week that anger is a normal and natural response. In fact, the other week I was doing a group project and I wanted people to do the things I wanted and when I wanted. And when things didn't go as I expected, I got upset and angry. And in that situation, I was angry because I didn't feel in control. I needed to be reminded that God is in control of everything. And through group projects like that one, the Holy Spirit allowed me to acknowledge my anger, pause it, and ask for forgiveness from people and God. And I pray that whenever you get angry, that you can experience the power of the Holy Spirit in this way too.
All right, let's go to Pastor Sawyer and see our tough questions for this week. Welcome back, boys and girls, to another segment of Tough Questions with Pastor Sawyer. We have done several weeks now of some really good questions, so if you haven't watched those, go back and watch them because we are learning a lot. All right, we're gonna jump right into it. The next question we have is, does God have a heart? And what does God look like?
Yeah, that's a hard question. So we see in the Bible that David is said to be a man after God's own heart. And sometimes we talk about our friends using language like this, figurative language. When you say that your friend is a silly goose, you don't mean that they're actually a migratory waterfowl creature. You mean that they're silly, or that they're funny. Or if you say that your friend is full of beans, you're really full of beans today. That doesn't mean you have beans in your socks. It means you're very energetic. And so when we see these phrases, that David is a man after God's own heart, there's good reason to think that we're being figurative in what's being said here. Why? Because we know that God doesn't have a body. God isn't material. We've kind of used this word before, of material compared to immaterial. So something is material if it's physical, like us, right? My watch, my shirt, my socks, this is all material stuff. But some things in the world are immaterial. Here's an example. The wind isn't something that's material. Have you ever seen the wind before? Well, no, you haven't seen the wind before, but you feel the wind, right? Sometimes the wind comes through and it's really cold and it makes you shiver. Or it's a hot day and the wind comes through and it's nice, it cools you down. Or maybe you look outside and you can see the wind affecting things. So maybe the wind is blowing leaves, or the wind is blowing snow, or the wind is blowing the trees. So even though we can't see the wind, we can feel the wind and we can see the wind affecting other things. So too, God isn't something physical, but we can feel God and we can see God at work in the world. Yeah. This is why Christmas is actually such a big deal.
It just happened last month, so It's on our minds.
We know that God is 3 in 1. God is 3 persons in one being. It's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Right. And when Christmas happens, God the Son takes on human flesh. Jesus comes to earth, he's born as a child, and he has a body. Jesus had arms and legs and a face as well. So God, who was immaterial, became material. And so that's how we can know that Jesus did live and he walked around as well. So to answer this question, does God have a heart? God the Father and the Holy Spirit don't have a physical heart in the same way.
Not that pumps blood like ours.
Not like ours, but he still loves us. And we talk about, oh, my heart is so happy today, or I love you with all of my heart. We're also being figurative because our heart is an organ. It's part of your body. It's not the part of your body that actually does the loving, but it's how we say to someone that we love them. So when we say that David was a man after God's own heart, God didn't have a physical heart, but he loved David, and God also loves us. So I hope that answers the question.
It does answer the question. And just to clarify around what does God look like? Well, if God, the Father, and the Holy Spirit don't have bodies, then we don't know what they look like because
there's
nothing to see. Exactly. Yeah. And we know that Jesus came to the earth in a body. Again, there was no one around then to take pictures. We have people who've done some paintings of imagining what Jesus could look like. The Bible tells us he was a Jewish man, so he would look like someone from the Middle East. And there was nothing really special about his appearance that we'd remember. So he didn't have a big mark on his face or something that would be normal. Like, oh, it's the guy with the mark if he's walking by. So we don't know, but we can imagine what God would look like. Great question, boys boys and girls. Well, thank you, Sawyer, for that answer. That's really great, boys and girls. All right, let's stand up and worship God. Even though he does not have a physical heart, he loves us, and we want to show our love back to him.
Whenever I'm in need and I'm looking for help, God, you're always there for me. Wherever you lead me, I can follow you. God, you're always there for me. Oh, God, you're always there for me. Help me believe you know what's best for me. I feel it in my soul when you are in control. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Whenever I'm lost and I don't know where to turn, God, you're always there for me. Wherever I go, you're always by my side. God, you're always there for me. Oh, God, you're always there for me. Yes, you are. So help me believe you know what's best for me. In my soul, when you are in control, I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah.
Yeah. God, help us to be more like you. 'Cause your way is the best way.
I feel it in my soul when you are in control. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I feel it in my soul when you are in control. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah.
The Bible isn't just a book of random stories. It's 66 different books that come together to tell one story. An incredible one about God's love for us. And now, for an amazing story inspired by the book of Judges, chapters 6 to 8.
Even though God had given his people a new home in the Promised Land, the Israelites still turned away from him. So God allowed their enemies to attack and defeat them. Each year, the Midianites and Amalekites destroyed the Israelites' crops and livestock. At last, the Israelites cried out to God. Help! Help! God saw how powerless his people were, so he sent an angel of the Lord. Not to the strongest, but to the least significant family, the very least important person in the whole tribe, a man named Gideon. Hi? You know, the sort of guy other people look right past.
Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane, should have been my name, Mr. Cellophane.
When the angel first appeared, Gideon was hiding out threshing wheat. He was so worried that enemies would steal his grain, he was working where nobody else could see him. The blazing light nearly blinded him. What?
Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you.
If God is with us, why have all these awful things happened?
You are strong, Go save Israel. I am sending you.
Who, me? You know me, Gideon, least important guy in the family at the bottom of the pecking order?
I will be with you.
Gideon still couldn't believe that God would actually choose him, so he asked for a sign. God burned up the meat and bread that Gideon had prepared. Oh, wow. Well done. Extra crispy, in fact. Soon, enemy armies crossed the Jordan River to attack Israel. The Spirit of God came on Gideon, giving him courage, and he called to the men of Israel to come join him. And even though Gideon considered himself unimportant, 32,000 men rallied around him at Mount Gilead. Yikes. They think I'm going to lead them in battle? Are you sure about this, God? God was patient with Gideon and gave 2 more signs to show that he was going to use Gideon just as he'd promised. Well, okay, God.
I will hand the Midianites over to you.
Great. Got it. Let's do this.
But you have too many men.
Too many men?
Too many men.
Have you seen the enemy camp? They're like a swarm of locusts.
The Israelites might brag, my own strength has saved me. So tell the army, those who tremble with fear can turn back.
Does that include me? With a deep sense of dread, Gideon gave God's message to the men of Israel. Many of them did leave. Well, we've only got 10,000 soldiers to fight the enemy now.
There are still too many men.
Still too many men?
Still too many men. Take them down to the water, and I will tell you who should leave.
Gideon led all the men down to the water to drink. Here, God instructed Gideon to separate the men who got down and drank water like dogs from the men who cupped the water and drank with their hands. The ones who got down to drink should be sent home. You stay. You go. Stay. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. God, there are only 300 men left.
With their help, I will save you.
Well, you created math, so I gotta believe you can do the math. That night, Gideon and his small band of warriors camped in the spring of Herod. In the valley below, the vast enemy army spread out, torches and campfires flickering for miles. As many as the sand on the seashore. Gideon tossed and turned on his map, unable to sleep. Once again, the voice of God startled him.
Get up and go down to the camp. Listen to what they are saying. Then you will not be afraid.
Gideon and his servant snuck down the hillside. At the edge of the enemy camp, they hung back in the shadows as they saw men huddled around the last embers of a glowing campfire. No! No!
Wake up, you're dreaming.
I saw a giant loaf of bread race down the mountain. It flattened a tent.
That must be Gideon. God has given him the whole camp.
In the shadows, Gideon could barely keep from shouting. God has given us the whole camp. Gideon and his servant rushed back up the hill to the sleeping Israelite band. Get up! Get up! God has given you the Midianites. Each of you take a trumpet and a torch in a jar.
A torch in a jar is about as good as a jar.
Watch me. Do what I do. Gideon divided the men into 3 groups of 100. Fanning out, they crept down the mountain to the outskirts of the enemy camp. Now! Gideon and his men blasted their trumpets and smashed their jars so their torches blazed into the night.
A sword for the Lord and for Gideon!
The Israelites held their ground at the edge of camp, but their enemies panicked. Some ran away in fear, others began to fight with each other. Send messengers through the hill country. Tell our friends we're following the enemy. Gideon's band of men was joined by other Israelites as they all chased the Midianites back across the Jordan River. The enemy was completely destroyed that day, and Gideon led Israel through 40 years of peace, all because he had allowed God to use him in spite of his doubts.
Wow, I love the story of Gideon. It's such a cool story about seeing God's power in circumstances that seemed that they would never work out. The fact that God asked him to actually take away soldiers from their troop is crazy. When have you ever heard that? Boys and girls, this is kind of a different way of looking at self-control. Oftentimes you get in trouble for not being prepared. Maybe you didn't have your homework done, or maybe you didn't do something you should have done, like clean your room. But there's kind of another side to that. Sometimes we can be over-prepared in life, and we can always want to control things. I know for both me and Miss Stephanie, we have type A personalities, which mean we're people who always like to have things in control and get things done and organized in a certain way. That's a great gift from God, but sometimes when we always have things so organized in our own control, we miss out on the opportunity for God to show his power and love. So I would encourage you, boys and girls, if you're that type of person who always needs to be in charge or in control, take a step back this week and allow the Holy Spirit to guide you this week in how he wants you to do something. Maybe it's not how you planned it, but I can guarantee if it's God's way, it's going to be the best. All right, younger brothers and sisters, it's time for your service.
It's time to hear a story full of wonder. There's so much fun we'll have learning together. So let's go down to the clubhouse with Ollie and his friends. Let's go down to the clubhouse where wonder never ends at the Wonder Clubhouse. At the Wonder Clubhouse. Hi friends, I'm Zoe. One of my friends left this helpful book in the Book Nook. It's a children's book about first aid. That's another way of saying how to help someone when they get hurt. This book talks about all the different ways a kid can get a boo-boo and how to help if they do. Do you want to know the coolest thing about boo-boos? Band-aids! You need a really big Band-aid if you have a really big boo-boo. You'll need a really teeny tiny Band-aid if you have a teeny tiny boo-boo. You'll need a whole bunch of Band-aids if you have a whole bunch of boo-boos. Ouch. Let's see what else I can learn about boo-boos.
Hoo, hoo.
It's Ollie!
Hello, Zoe. Hoo, hoo. Learning all about boo-boos, are you?
I sure am, Ollie. There are so many different types of bandages we can use if our friends get hurt.
Giving a bandage is great. It's true. Jesus tells us to help others too. Listen to this story. Just follow me through. Ooh, ooh.
Follow me through, follow me through, who? Ollie's got a Bible story for me and you.
Oh, hey friends. I'm Justin the mailman, out delivering mail on this beautiful day. I have to remember to take Mr. Smith's mail to the door for him. He hurt his leg and can't walk to the mailbox right now. I just love helping people. That reminds me of another important story Jesus told us. Do you want to hear it? Great. Let me just put the story mail in the mailbox. And we're ready to go. The story Jesus told begins with a man walking along a road, when all of a sudden some robbers came and hurt the man. Oh no! He had so many boo-boos. He needed help. Look, here comes someone. Let's ask him to help. Everyone on the count of 3, yell, "Please help!" 1, 2, 3, please help! Oh no! He didn't stop to help. He just walked on by. Here comes another man. Let's ask him to help. Ready? 1, 2, 3, please help! But he didn't stop either. He just walked on by. Then a third man came by. Uh-oh, he's a Samaritan. He's not going to help this man. The Samaritan people and the hurt man's people were not friends. There's no way the Samaritan will be kind and help the hurt man. But let's go ahead and ask him. 1, 2, 3, please help! Look! The Samaritan is stopping, and he's giving the hurt man bandages for his boo-boos. Wow! The Samaritan man helped the hurt man. He even put the hurt man on his donkey and took him to a place to stay until he was all better. That is awesome! The Samaritan man in the story was a great helper. He took care of the hurt man. There are lots of ways we can help others. I'm being a helper today and taking Mr. Smith's mail to his door. We can help everyone. Our parents, our teachers, our friends, everyone. The very important thing Jesus taught us in this story is that we can help everyone. I'm so glad we have a friend like Jesus to teach us important things. Oh, hi, Ollie. Tell me, who teaches you important things?
Jesus teaches me important things. Yes, it's true. Now let's hear it from you. Tell me, who teaches you important things?
Jesus teaches me important things. That's the truth, friends. You better believe it. I'll see you next time.
So there's your story, and it's all true. Jesus said helping others is the thing to do. Hoo, hoo.
Thanks, Ollie.
Goodbye to you. Hoo, hoo.
Wow, Jesus told us a story to teach us that we can help everyone. I think I got the story. Did you get it? If you did, say got it. Get it? Got it! Good. I'm gonna see what else I can learn to help my friends. I'll see you next time. Bye.
The crowds were amazed at his teaching. Matthew 7:28. The crowds were amazed at his teaching. Matthew 7:28.
What a great story! Jesus told the story so we know how important it is to help others. We can help everyone. I think I got the story. If you got it, say, oh yeah. Did you get it?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna see what else I can learn to help my friends. See you later, everyone.